All right, guys, here we are. We pulled traps for all the ice we got. The ice is melted now, and we're back out here setting traps. Now we're at a new farm, new location. I have trapped here in the past, so I've got an idea of where the beaver are located and where to start looking for them. But I wanted to show you here where the first stop, and basically I know that the beaver come across right here on the road. And I'm looking for sign. Caught beaver out of here last year. I'm just looking to sign that there's more beaver in here. And right here is a drain culvert going underneath the road, and we've definitely got some beaver that are back in here again. So you can see that all that mud that they pushed up here, and then a couple of smaller castor mounds right here on the edge of the road. And then this culvert, they've got it stopped back up, holding the water in this slough. So I'm gonna go right down through here. I'm gonna probably make a castor mound set right here on the point of this, where they've been bringing this dirt and debris up. I'll put a drowning rod out here with a foothold on a castor mound and some new beaver scent. And then, I mean, you can see all along this road edge where they've recently been up here piling mounds. And we're just looking for a noticeable slide that we know that they use. We find one, we'll get it set. Quite a bit of mud right back here on the edge of the water, both up here on the edge of the road and down on the edge of the water. So we'll probably put another foothold and a drowning set right here, and add some beaver castor to these mounds, an odd scent, different beaver in here. But I wanted to show you that. All right, guys, here we got these two places set now. Basically all I've done right here beside this drain that's stopped up, we put right here, we just worked that area up, that slide where the beaver's been coming in and out of here pushing this mud up. We've got our drowning rod in the ground here, and we've got a bridger number 5 right here in the water. I believe you guys can see it, just under the water, maybe about 3 to 4 inches on that little ledge, and then it drops off past it down to about 8 or 10 inches, and then just slowly real deep. And what we're hoping is that beaver's going to smell. We put some beaver castor lure up here. We didn't make any mound because they've been working this anyway. We just added some different lure. So we got that trap in the water right there, and then right up here, right on this stick, you can see we've got some lure right there on that stick. And we're hoping that beaver's going to swim up here. He's going to smell. He's going to want to put his nose right on this stick and get a good sniff of this lure. And as he does, he's going to have to put his foot down. And we're hoping he's laid in here just like this, and he puts his foot down right on that trap, and then goes down the drowner and waiting for us here in the morning. Right here's my stick that I usually put in here beside my rod, and that just shows me real quick whether my trap has gone down the slider or not. And then we've got, again, all these mounds. They've been working this area pretty good. Now we put one other set in right here where this bigger log sticking out of the water. We went in here. They had these 2 mounds made up already, and then it's basically the same thing. We've got a drowning rod going right through here. We've got a TS-85 guarding that water hole. We added a little bit of fresh mud, just splashed some water up here to make it shine a little bit. Looks like something's been working it. And we used a different castor lure, a different smell, made by a different maker. We done the same thing. We put it on this stick here, edge of that stick, and we're hoping the same thing, that beaver comes up, sticks his nose to it, and puts his foot down in our trap. So those sets, hang with me, and I'll show you some more areas as we get to them. Guys, real quick while we're here, give you something else to think about. You know, coming down through here, these beavers have got all these castor mounds up on the bank. And we all know, everyone that's trapped beavers know that a castor mound is beaver marking his territory. you know, I spoke of earlier, we were looking for distinguished crossover trails crossing over this road, and that's one thing you don't see that you normally see when you got a lot of beaver activity. You see them crossing the road, and here you don't really see that. You just see them coming up out of the water up to the top edge of it, and they're making these mounds everywhere. So why do they do that? Well, beavers, you know, you don't hear much about this when people are talking about beaver trapping, but you hear it a lot when people talk about coyotes or other predators, and they talk about areas and boundaries. So basically this big road that's going down the middle of the slough is a boundary for beavers. And right over here, we'll look on this side, and you got the same thing. We've got castor mounds all down through here. Them beaver are doing the same thing. They're coming up here, and they're marking the top of this hill right here, right here. You would think that this would be the crossover, and at one time it may have been, but it's not used now. You can tell the leaves, they don't have a lot of mud on them. It's not used regularly to cross over to this other side. But as you walk down through here, we see, just like on that other side, we see a lot of mounds where the beavers have come up here and marked this side of the road as their territory. So what's happening here? My thoughts on it is these beaver that are marking this side of the road with castor mounds are one gang, and then right over here you've got all these mounds on the side of the road, and this is another gang. And this road is a natural, well, not necessarily natural, but this road is a boundary line between these two groups of beavers. So we're going to have a group of beavers living over here, a group of beavers living over here, and even if we didn't have those castor mounds and that boundary mark, right over here is a hut. So this is where this group of beavers are living. So we're going to come in here and we're going to put a couple more drowners on this side of the road, a couple more sets, and that way we can be catching both groups of these beavers at the same time. Anyway, just some more food for thought. Appreciate you guys watching. All right, guys, same thing here. Right here is where we had the trap on the drowner. Basically all we've done is come right across the road. And since I run drowners on that side, I went ahead and put extension cables on footholds on this side just to show you the difference. Right here we've got this trap extended with a chain. You can see it right here. Basically it's just wrapped around that tree below the water level, and that extension goes all the way right over here to where we've got our trap bedded. Get out of the sun. Got the trap bedded, and they've got these mounds that they've been marking with right here already. And what we've done, we've come and placed our trap right here in the water, and we just raked the ground down to dirt and made it shine with water all the way up here to the top. We placed a little castor mound here that we dug up from the bottom, placed it here, and put some castor scent on it. And hopefully we'll have a beaver waiting for us tomorrow. And then right down here is our second set. We've done the same thing right here. We just worked that edge of that up with water to where it shines. We've got our trap garden right there just under the water. Made a little bit of a castor mound right here and put some scent on it, and some scent right there on that stick. So they swim up and put their nose on it and put their foot down in the trap. And basically we just got it with a cable attached over here to this tree under the water. Basically all I do is I build these cables about 10 foot each. You know, double over with a ferrule, make me a loop in my cable, and then I'll use this split ring attached to it, and I can just feed that cable back through that split ring. It's just a quick, easy attach. And again, just make sure it's underwater. You don't want to catch a live beaver. He'll come over here. If you've got your trap secured up here on this tree and that beaver gets caught and overnight he chews this tree below that spot, then he won't be here waiting on you in the morning. But if you'll put it below water level, they won't chew on that tree. All right, guys, here we are at another location. Basically, to show you what we got. We got this big reservoir over here. And we got this road that cuts down the edge of the reservoir and splits this flooded timber on this other side. And right over here we got a pretty good sized beaver dam. But the problem is the mud is so bad down here that you can't wade out across there to get to that dam. You sink up between knee and waist deep in mud, and that just makes for miserable walking. So what we've done right here, we found a crossover where these beavers are coming across this road right here, and we set both sides of this crossover. Right here on this side we've got a 330 underneath that limb there. You can see it there in the water. Basically, whether they're coming or going, they're going to dive down to go underneath that stick, get caught in that 330. And you can tell they're coming up. They're not coming straight up. They're coming right around this edge. And you can tell where the grass is more down here. They're going straight across this other side, dropping down this edge over into the reservoir. And what we've done is right here, before we get to the water's edge, it nicks down and the trail goes right underneath those bushes. And we just went in there without disturbing it and placed a snare loop right there, so any animal that comes across here is going to go through that snare and be caught here. And all we got this snare, there's no trees around to anchor to, so we've got it, the end of the snare here, we've got it attached to a split ring, and then we've got a ground stake that we drove down into the ground right here and anchored with. All right, guys, here's another set we've got in. We're just right down from where we just set that crossover. It was just right down here a little bit, crossing that beaver dam. And we set both sides of that crossover, one with a conibear and one with a snare. And then right down here, the road comes to a T. And this was the levee that we were on, and then we've got this one that cuts through here in the woods. Noticed as we come through here some fresh chew on the bottom of this tree, and so what we've done, we come right in here and placed a set, and all we've done is placed a foothold. We've got it anchored there at the bottom of this tree under the water, and then right here we come in here and we really disturbed this area, dug out a bunch of mud, splashed it up, made us a beaver mound set here, and put some castor lure on a stick just right down here, so I put his nose on it. We blocked it down with just a little bit of this old rotten debris and limbs that's filling the water. We just kind of blocked it off a little bit, not too much, but just enough to narrow them down into coming in right here straight in front of it. And then you can see our trap right there in the water. One thing you gotta be careful of, and sometimes it's just unavoidable, these sticks that are floating on top of our track, and these little acorns. That trap goes off, and one of these gets caught in the jaw. It'll hold that jaw open enough that the beaver can pull his foot out. So, I mean, try to get those out of the way best you can. I mean, it's something I don't worry too much about, but if I notice it sticks out, I'll try to move them a little bit. But basically what we're hoping here is that beaver's going to be swimming out here somewhere and get a smell of this lure and see this tore up here and want to come over and investigate. As he swims up here, we're hoping that he'll swim right over the top of that trap to get up here on this lure, and it's gonna cause him to put his foot down and investigate a little bit more. And that trap's going to be just right below his belly, right where his foot goes down into the ground is what we're hoping. And that would be a back foot catch. You know, You know, his head's going to be here, his front feet's going to be about right in here as he's sticking his neck out, and then we're hoping he'll put his back foot down right on top of that trap, and then anchored to that tree. He'll be alive when we get here in the morning. Hang tight, guys. This is a beautiful area. Had to stop a little bit ago and admire the ducks. Jumped a bunch of ducks out on the edge of this reservoir. They got up and let right back down, and then went to quacking and calling to each other. Here's some frogs over there chirping now. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but a beautiful day after having all that ice and stuck in the house for a few days, and now we get out here and get to enjoy nature a little bit, so it's awesome. All right, stick around. All right, guys, I don't know if you can tell it or not, but it's that tallest tree right there, and then we've got this dead stick out in the middle of the lake, and then this tree right here. If you look out on that farthest limb, there's a bald eagle sitting there. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell it or not. It's as much as I can zoom in, but try to get a picture of it maybe. Them things are always cool to see. There's several of them hanging out right down here. I see them quite a few mornings. Anyway. Alright, guys, as beautiful as that is, pretty amazing. More getting. Goose out there somewhere, but I don't see him. He's probably still in the water. Alright, guys, this right here is what we're after. Right over here. Big old beaver hut. Oh. You can tell they've been up here. Been up here and putting new mud, and we're gonna get some sets made. Probably just put one foothold right up here where Castor Mount Al. I don't know. We may not even sit right here around this hut. I know just right up here a little ways there's 2 or 3 crossovers that they use. We'll set both them crossovers, both sides of them. A bunch more mallards getting up there. Just a little bit too close for them. Still got several bunches flying over here, but they all went right back down in this same little reservoir. Just a little bit farther away from where we are. But anyway, again, this is too muddy. You can't, without a canoe or a kayak or some kind of float to get over there. It'd be shallow enough to walk. Just a drainage ditch right here, and then it's going to shallow up again right over on that edge. But it's just too much mud. Almost impossible to walk across there and too deep. So we just going to set this edge down along here and catch them as they're out roaming around away from the hut. I may just save this a little bit and not set it right now, going down here and set these crossovers. But a lot of coon tracks right around here too. So I mean, all this water, this road right here, it's a highway for the animals. Any predator is going to use them. So I mean, you could just wear them out, setting traps all down through here. We'll get up here and check these crossovers out, guys. All right, guys, here we are at this crossover. Last year, this was, the farmers have come in here and fixed this road, the property owners, and last year this was just a pretty good gully. Not much of a road, just barely enough to get the side by side through, and it was just really looked like a washout across here. But I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but this whole area is just worked over by coons. All this dirt where they fixed it hadn't had the grass growing in it. You can just really see their footprints. It looks like some ducks come across here too, but there's not a spot here you can step without being in a trap or in a track. It's pretty amazing. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna set one of our, I can tell right here where them beaver have been coming up and out of there. They don't have it wore down enough. But I'm gonna set a caster mount foothold right here on this side, and right over here on this other side we'll put a 330 right down here, block it off. We'll try to get it underneath that tree that's there already. They're used to going underneath all that, so we'll just place it right underneath that limb as close as we can get. And I'll show you what that looks like when we get done. Guys, I'm right here, right in the middle of making this set, but I want to show you something real quick. This trap here is a TS85, and the difference in it and them number 5s that I'm using is that those number 5s have got a dog that you got to put across the trap and attach. Another difference is those number 5s have got 4 coils here, which makes it a stronger, faster, more powerful trap. We've only got 2 coils on this TS85, and then they've got bigger ears here on the side, these traps do, which makes it a little bit easier to get your hand in there to push down with. Another plus that I like about these TS85s over those number 5s is you have no dog. Your pan comes up here and attaches, holds the trap open. So it just makes it a little bit easier to set, a little bit easier to work with. These big traps, you're in the water, sometimes you got to set them on your leg, but it just makes it easier. But anyway, I've got a chain extension on this trap. And another plus, I just recently switched over to using these split rings, and one thing I found real useful with them is you can double stake through the split ring itself. By double staking, what I mean is I'm using these rebars. If I was to just push this one rebar down in there, it's unlikely, but it's possible that a beaver could get up here and pull enough and work this stake enough that he could pull the stake out of the ground and take off with it. So what I mean by double staking is we're gonna put this stake in the ground, then we're gonna come over here, and there's enough room using the split ring that I can take this stake and make an X with it right above where that ring is. We're gonna push this stake down at this angle, and I'll get the hammer here in a minute and we'll knock them all the way down to the ground. But what that does is it doesn't allow the beaver to get lever enough to work the one stake loose and eventually pull it out. By putting 2 in there, and we're going to hammer them down to the ground, when he starts pulling, those 2 stakes are going to leverage against each other, and it's not going to allow them to move and allow that animal to pull out. Same thing with land trapping. If some of you new guys are using stakes and anchors and not earth anchors, use this method on your foothold land traps. Do the same thing, just dig your bed, do this underneath your trap, and then set your trap right on top of it, cover it up just like you would normally on dry land. But this is a good technique that I'm really liking. These split rings have many uses, and so far I haven't had one fail me. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys that. I'm gonna get this trap set in here, and then I'll show you the finished make when we get done. All right, guys, we're down here on the other side of this crossover now. I got this 330. Basically, there's a channel here that them animals use when they come under the water and go underneath this log, and I can feel that channel. I can feel both sides of that channel with my foot as I'm walking through here. Basically, all I've done, I've taken a 330. The channel runs right through here just like this. Taking a 330 and I've set it at a 45 just straight down into the bottom of that channel, and use these 2 sticks to secure through our springs like I've done in previous videos. Just anchored the trap right here to this tree, and now this trap's sitting here guarding this runway, so anything that comes through here is going to go through that trap. And then go over and show you this set we got made over here with the chain on the TS85, and grab my hammer and we'll get those stakes secured down in the ground. Basically all I've done right over here, come off to the side of this, and I've just really slicked it up right here, so it looks like that beaver's coming up right here. come up here and work, push that mud up into a caster mound right here. And this is, we made this. And then that scent that I'm using is real liquidy. So all I did was pour a little bit right here on top of this caster mound. And what that's going to allow is the wind's going to come over whichever way it's blowing and get that scent out there to where the beaver will smell it. And I poured just a little bit more right here, this dark spot on the ground. What I'm wanting is that beaver start investigating this, see it, come over here and check it out. But I want him to stick his nose right to this. And as he does, he's going to put his front feet down right here, and he's going to put his back feet down right on top of that TS-85 in the water and be caught. And like I said, I just threw my chain off in the water right over here, and it just comes right up this edge to my anchor point. All we're going to do is hammer both of those stakes down in there. Now, like I was talking about earlier, there's no way that beaver is going to be able to pull that stake up out of the ground. Now, the beavers don't care about this chain, but I am going to take and cover it up just so somebody on this farm comes down through here and or somebody comes riding down this road. It's just not obvious. Makes it a little bit harder for them to see, to know that there's something there. They see that chain, might get investigating, see the trap. And the more I can keep hidden, keep away from prying eye, the happier I am. But anyway, if somebody didn't know what they were looking for, they would never know there was even a set at either one of these places. So, all right, guys. All right, guys, here's our next stop. Real quick, just another crossover. This is a really lightly used one. Both sides of it here. But just a little bit of a, I don't know if you call it a caster mound, if it's a small beaver or what, but we've got where they pulled a little bit of debris right up here on the side. And we just tried to hide a snare right here where they've been going in and out. You can see it there, and we just disguised it a little bit with a couple of sticks. Got it earth anchored here in the ground. But with it not being, there wasn't any other caster mounds down through here that I've found. Didn't really see any chew either, but I think it's definitely a beaver been using this crossover, but not very much. So what we've done, we've got this 280 right down here on this side of the trail. You can see it. And I just blended it in with some of these vines and stuff, these water vines that are growing here, and just tried to camouflage it in there best I could. And what we done, we used a beaver call lure just right up here on this hill. I just took and used this stick here and put some of that call lure right there on top of it. And what I'm hoping by doing this is, and not being really active trail, I'm hoping this scent being on top of this hill, the wind will take it either direction, and being a curiosity lure, hopefully maybe get the beavers in here. If they smell it and curious about it, they're going to use this same trail that they always use to cross over here, so maybe we'll catch them on one side or the other. And with that snare being a live set, if we catch a beaver in it first and it's live up here causing commotion, that'll help call another beaver over here. Maybe we can get a double, have one going off this end. But anyway, that's the hopes and that's the thinking behind this location.